Bad boy, come out and play. Actually, keep your ass inside because it's freezing. Winter is here, baby, and I gotta put you onto some fly, potent, deep penetrating, skin epidermal level, pore saturating winter fragrances. Not just any winter fragrances though, they gotta have levels of sex vibes. They gotta be interesting, delicate, sexy, rich, deep, seductive, interesting. People forget interesting has to be in the conversation because interesting is what's gonna get you across that line. Interesting is what's going to bring that conversation piece from a 4 to a solid 8. Keep in mind with all of these fragrance videos, number one rule, number one key in life is to present yourself in a proper manner, make sure your fit is on point, and you loofah that space between your butthole and your balls, cause shit get kinda musty.
You have a tight body. Yes, I see that from your tight pants.
So let's roll my music so I can put you onto 10 banger winter fragrances that you need to at least sample.
Welcome to the YouTube channel that will make you laugh more than a gaggle of unicorns mating in the Serengeti. His wealth of knowledge will make the most astute astrophysicist question. His life decisions, led by his spiritual advisors, Chuck Norris and Walter Mercado, I present to you Mr. Kind of a Big Deal.
Kind of a big deal.
Blessing, one of my beautiful peoples, you know who it is, it's your boy, C to the U to the B to the A. I love how the background is looking with the brick. Let me know if you want to see more modifications, cause I gotta do more shelving, more accents, just switch it up a little bit, give it a little bit more dynamic flair. But since we're on the tip of dynamic flair, in the winter and fall are probably the two best seasons when it comes to fragrances. Something about that brisk -6-degree weather, them wind chills, that make the fragrance kind of just wrap around its little winter finger and just right by you. That's what catches the attention. The notoriety, the respect, the interest factor. I mean, let's be honest, it's what's gonna separate you from the rest. Nowadays, some dudes got the same pickup lines, they're watching the same TikTok videos and Instagram videos, they're trying to use the same quotes. Nowadays, everybody's a philosopher thinking that it's a scene from the movie Poetic Justice and shit.
Man, I'm dead.
Fam, dare to be different. Stop being like everybody else. Shit's not gonna work. She's bored of it. But you know what she's not gonna be bored of? Something she's never smelled, like Vetiver Amber by Primera Perfumes. I need to show this joint more love. I've been waiting for this season to really apply this joint because it's really sexy. Leather and tea. Leather, tea, oud, musk, patchouli. Oh my God, this is ridiculous, fam. The amber in here, amazing. It's a little green, it's a little sugary, it's sexy, it's smoky, it's very rich, it's very deep, it's very potent. Right now, it's a little bit much in the air because I'm in a confined space. So there's a lot of shit going on. So this is something that you spray before you dip out of the crib. Let it just lay and form on your skin so when you go somewhere, it's a little bit calmer. Not gonna happen, but you know, something about that leather suediness in combination with that tea note and that beautiful sugary sweet amber makes it not only unique, but very sexy and rich. It has a nice Middle Eastern presence, but it doesn't have any funkiness about it, which is fantastic because you don't gotta think about it being a little bit too overpotent with those off-putting notes that could be a little bit icky. Not a fragrance that many people speak about because not many people are introduced to the house of Primera Parfums. But let me tell you that they have a very solid lineup that none, I can say honestly, slack anywhere in performance. And this one just happens to be one of my favorites. Absolute sex monster and a beast for the winter. Next one. I still think this fragrance is underrated because it doesn't have a hype bubble yet. It's got the presentation, it's got the smell, it's got the notes, it's got the sex appeal. The entire house seems to be catered around fucking, and I respect it wholeheartedly because that's BISOUS tobacco flirting with vanilla. Look at the sexy lips there blowing the cigar smoke and shit, and it's all enveloping here. Then you got a little rubbery shit. It's a little bit of an S&M in a bottle, no? There has not been one person that I've let smell this fragrance that hasn't been like, damn, that shit is a vibe. It doesn't get any more specific than tobacco flirting with vanilla because that's exactly what you're getting. It's a beautiful pipe tobacco smokiness enveloping that sweet caramelized sugary vanillic vibe from this fragrance. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's little maraschino vibes in here. Cherry, sweet little Luden's candy, pipe tobacco, a nice little smoking pipe, little Hugh Hefner energy. Minus having to take a dick pill.
Oh, Frank.
Spicy, dry, leathery, smoky. If I'm wearing this fragrance, best believe she's gonna talk to me nicely. And I mean my wife. That's who I'm talking about. Next one. I think I can confidently say that a winter will not pass by without me wearing this fragrance bare minimum one time. For me, this is a winter staple. One of the best in the game, hands down. Memo's African Leather. This is one of these fragrances that you can't describe how beautiful it is. It's something you have to truly experience for yourself. I can tell you from here to the moon, all the beautiful notes, it doesn't matter. Until you try this out on your skin and really experience the vibe and energy that you can get off of this joint, how beautiful a sweet leather can potentially be, that's completely unique and separate from anything else that isn't trying to clone it, just different. This is it. This is not a new fragrance. It is not a fragrance that's really appreciated the way that it should be. It's magical. It's magic leather. This is the Harlem Blue Magic, uncut, 100% poodle, sexy leather energy. One of the world's best in my opinion, because how it makes me feel, how it smells on my skin, what it does for me. Look up the notes. As a matter of fact, forget the notes. Find somewhere you can purchase a sample and just sample it. Don't go out and blind buy it, don't blow the bag. It's not cheap, but it doesn't smell cheap either. It's a vibe, it's a whole energy, it's a true experience in leather perfumery with artistry involved and straight up horniness. Next one. There's gonna be some commonality in this video because there's certain notes that speak winter to me. Incense, tobacco, leather, all these rich notes really scream that to me. And this one is one of the best tobacco fragrances in the game, Amouage Royal Tobacco. Not inexpensive, but not anything that you've ever experienced before, unless you've smelled this joint. Royal Tobacco is an erotic experience in tobacco perfumery. Benzoin, myrrh, frankincense, pear. I feel like there's like 17 different tobaccos. They just ran up into a tobacco warehouse or went to Cuban fields and rampaged. No lie, this fragrance has like 15 notes in here and none of them smell all over the place. I don't know how you can possibly concoct so many different notes and make something that is so masterpiece, almost 10 out of 10 when it comes to tobacco fragrances. It is very rich and very potent though. For me, I consider this an absolute sexy, individualistic scent profile, but that has magic in it. Now me with perfumery is a level of artistry to a certain extent, right? But some of us don't give a flying fart about any artistry. I wanna know if this shit is fire, unique, different, bold, projects, lasts long. This fragrance happens to hit all those bullet points. You are 100% gonna pay a pretty penny for it, but I promise you that you're not gonna slack on anything. There's not gonna be any performance issue on this joint, even though performance is subjective from person to person.
It's the coming.
That doesn't happen here. Amouage rarely has a fragrance that's like, oh, this only lasts like 30 minutes. I've never heard that ever. And what I have heard is Amouage making some fragrances that smell like hot hyena balls, like Interlude Man, which is not something that I personally like, but I digress. The point is, they all have balls. And this one not only has balls, but it's got dripping box too. Next one. Now, my reluctancy to buy this fragrance is purely based on ego. It's all my fault. I didn't want to follow the Joneses. I didn't want to heed anybody else's recommendation. I like to blind buy and hopefully discover something amazing for myself. This is something that people put me on to in my DMs, and it's a designer that I didn't have much interest in getting to know until I smelled this joint, and it was Narciso Rodriguez Blue Noir Parfum. That's like the first time, because I call this fragrance Narcisco. That's just what it looks like to me and my dyslexic vision. Now, full disclosure, this fragrance for me in the air and off the test strip, very nice, but didn't blow me away. It had to do all with the skin. Something about this lineup just came off slightly too metallic and musky and dry for me off the test strip, which kind of was off-putting. I base a lot of my interpretations off first sniff, that first impressions. I know the dry down is most important. We all know that, and if you didn't know, well, essentially think about it. There's 3 tiers on it: the opening, the heart, and the dry down, which obviously that's what you're going to experience. The full experience of the fragrance is the dry down, because that's what's gonna settle at the end. That's what you're gonna be wearing the most. But for me, first impressions in all facets of life are really what captivate you to keep that interest in how it's gonna be on the dry down. Yes, it's going to change. Yes, it's gonna develop on your skin and your pH levels and your entire skin chemistry and how much acidity you sweat out of your fucking pores. That's all gonna play a role. But the first impression is what's going to keep me. Think about this. Let me use this particular analogy and maybe it'll assimilate with some people. People who are into music, right? It really takes no more than 30 seconds of you hearing a tone, a beat, a vocal, an octave, anything for you to know if you like a song or not. If the beat starts off hard, boom, boom, you're just like, ooh, that's it. You're captivated, you're caught. But if it starts off like, you're like, fuck, not my kind of vibe.
My whole day is ruined.
It really takes that short. For me, I interpret fragrance the same way. That's how my brain processes it. Ooh, it caught me here. Maybe it's gonna get better. Maybe it's gonna get worse, but I'm caught up right now. I'm interested. I'm focused in this fragrance. That's what happened here. So for me, I consider this joint a metallic, musky scent profile with a heavy vetiver and leathery kind of nuance, with green herbal facets and a lot of citrus on the opening, but the muskiness here is really the power player. It's like a blue, musky powerhouse that could be a little bit of dry on the first impressions, but it really has to work into the skin. So I mistakenly, or kind of by accident, ended up really enjoying this fragrance and seeing how it performs in the winter. And again, not one that I reach for a whole lot, but in the winter time is when I'm like, I can kind of pull this off on a little dress up or dress down, depending what type of energy I am. It's kind of an easy reach for me in the winter time, but that's my taste. I think it's sexy. Next one. I mean, I might as well have just called this video the best leather fragrances or tobacco fragrances for the winter, because I'm keeping that same energy with Zaharoff's Leather Tobacco. Let me refresh this puppy, because I think it's one of the best in the Zaharoff lineup. Super rich. I mean, very photorealistic type leathery, suede nuances here. Leather, incense, myrrh, juicy, I think it's plum, if I'm not mistaken. A little dirty, slight armpit smell, but doesn't last very long. It's kind of like that cuminish kind of note. That's a little bit jarring, but it also adds a lot of foundation and base to this fragrance. This fragrance can easily have a $250, $300 price point and be in the high-end echelons of niche perfumery when it comes to leather space, but it's an affordable niche fragrance by a dude who really enjoys fragrance and puts his fashionable foot forward. So Zaharoff Leather Tobacco is really intriguing me to get more wear out of it, but it's so selectively for the cold weather that it's hard to rock all these fragrances in a 3-month time period. So trust me, I'm not here recommending you to buy all of these fragrances. That'd be insane. It's one that particularly speaks to you, or you can sample and buy like 1, 2, 3 mLs of each one of them if you got that kind of bread, to see what speaks to you and have that as maybe your signature winter scent. This only gets love maybe once a year, twice maybe, but when it does, it counts. Next one. Now this one gets a lot more than twice a year love. This one gets all year round love, because the sweet, sexy vibes about this joint just screams Red Room, 50 Shades of Grey action. And we're talking about Hard Candy Elixir by Aaron Terrence Hughes. I know it's sold out. It consistently gets sold out, and I understand why. This is an overly sweet fragrance. Don't get it twisted. Like, there is massive amounts of sex appeal in this joint, but you gotta be into sweet fragrances. So all these tobacco, leather, smoky joints, this is completely to the right from these joints. This is pure sweet sex. This is, I don't want to know your name. Let's just go to the bathroom and make a really bad decision. Probably not pull out.
That's the key. You gotta pull out. You have to pull out, bro.
Sweet vanillic candy mint and drizzled honey all over sandalwood chunks. This is fire. Super sexy, versatile. I'll use this shit all year round, but it has a lot of body for it to be more towards the cold weather. But there's just so much sweet sex appeal. And again, you have to like sweet fragrances. This can be almost overly sweet, but for some reason, dudes more than anything tend to enjoy this fragrance more than the ladies. Like, they love how it smells on them. It makes it that much more delectable. And I don't know how many weirdo dudes be like, oh my God, it smelled deliciously sweet, other than me. Next one. I just got it and I've worn it twice already. This is one of my favorites, if not the favorite oud fragrance in the space. Difficult to wear at some points, but definitely a lot easier than some other real potent ouds. That's Fragrance du Bois Sahara Oud, like a grail in the collection. I just got this joint, enjoyed it through the Black Friday deal. I needed this joint in the collection. It was a necessary, like collecting baseball cards back in the day. This was one that you had to have. This was that Cal Ripken. This was that Don Mattingly with mustache. This was that Griffey. This is a goat of a fragrance.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Very oudy, very strong, chill with the sprays, could potentially stain a little bit of a shirt. Be easy, spray this shit on skin only, and honestly, a little bit goes a long way. This is something that a 3 maxer, I really don't go anything over 3 fragrances because it is a little bit too potent on certain situations. But imagine with 3 sprays, the type of performance that this shit must have in the cold weather. Incredible. Now, if you got one of those big Canada Goose with the fur collars and you do the little neck sprays, that shit will live on that fur collar for life. Lasts longer than the warranty on them damn jackets. So if you're looking for a very bougie, expensive, high-end luxury oud, this is one of my favorites. And if you can test it, test it. But I'm telling you right now, not for the faint of heart. Next one. This dusty, sexy, powdery amber is fire. I just rediscovered this joint while dusting my shelves, and I was like, shit, I've completely forgotten how this is smelling these days. Pulse of the Night, Issey Miyake. Holy hell. It's hard to have so many fragrances and would never recommend anybody to have this many fragrances unless you're an influencer in the space or do some sort of business with fragrances, because a lot of fantastic things get lost in the sauce. I think anything over 10 is kind of wild. You're just never gonna go through them, right? So this is what happened with this fragrance. It gets lost in the sauce. But the fun thing about it is it's kind of like a mystery game of where's Waldo of fragrances when you're rummaging through the fucking collections and then you pick this joint up and you're like, it's been a minute, and then you respray and you get that first impressions again, like, damn, bro, this is fire, dog. Like, why do I keep forgetting it? That shit happens to me all the time. Casualties of the hustle. Nuts. Gotta respray this shit again because this is nutty, 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 nutty. Powdery, amber, vanillic, slightly oud. There's a little bit of a funk in here. The patchouli is money, but the star in this joint is like that vanillic incense. Oh my God. Sexy, a whole fucking vibe. Another fragrance that's wildly underrated. I mean, you can throw it ×2 and it could cost way more and people will be like, yeah, this is such high-end quality niche. Oh my God. Ambery, sweet, slightly balsamic, super sexy, date night vibes. The winter calls for something as beautiful as this because it will make her pulse in the night. You know what I'm saying?
7, 7, 7, 7, 7.
And finally, what I would like to subliminally consider the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world from Parfums de Marly in the winter, a fragrance that you don't wear, you haven't heard of, you don't care about, has zero hype, but is this fucking good, and that's Nissim by Parfums de Marly. I don't understand why we don't give this fragrance the flowers it deserves. Just like on Drink Champs, when you break back the legendary rappers that paved the way for all these little motherfuckers that
delete that shit, bro. Delete it.
All these dudes, this joint should be getting its flower in the winter, but it should get flowers, although they're gonna die because it's freezing, but you know what I'm saying. A gorgeous soft blast of pepper with this fabric softener sweetness and delicacy about it. There's this pillowy of sex vibes that come off this fragrance. That is this powdery, peppery, sweet floral, ambery, woody, just amazing. It's a fantastic fragrance. Just nobody cares about it. It's a redheaded stepchild in a lineup that has so many mass appeal panty droppers that this one, because it lacks the versatility, really doesn't get spoken about. I think it's absolutely beautiful and you can potentially get it for a really good price since nobody cares about it. Sometimes hype drives these fragrance prices, so when something kind of falls in the back burner or it had a hype window for this big and then it's completely died out, that's when you snatch the bitch up. Nissim is one. Sample first, but snatch that shit up because this is wild crazy. Deep, rich, and bold is the name of the game in this winter fragrance video. I should have called it leather, tobacco, incense video fragrances, but it's more so discovering these gems once again, getting the opportunity to wear them. It's like I gotta line these joints up to wear it maybe one day out of the next 3 months of cold that we're gonna get. Who knows, the world might end. I mean, this morning it was 60. It's December. What are we doing, Mother Nature? You're as volatile as my wife. Damn, Mother Nature's Dominican. I love y'all mother suckers from the heart. Let me know what your signature go-to fragrance is for the winter. Leave it in the comments below. If I've never showcased it on the channel, maybe I don't have it and I need to experience it for myself. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're almost at 100K and I love all you guys for being with me from the beginning. I'll see y'all stitches next time. You know who it is, biggest in the game. Smooth.
But he don't play. Hey, for all the chicks that got dead in the penthouse suite on top of my mom's crib. It's nonsense you never get in. It's nonsense that you would think that you would.